Navigating the New Geopolitical Terrain, AI, Government, and Leadership Transitions in a Fragmented World. To moderate this session, I am very happy to welcome on stage Patrick Kurniawan. Patrick is originally from Indonesia, and he is currently in Taiwan as a MOFA Research Fellow at NCCU. But Patrick is also an experienced young leader since he was part of SEASAT 2024 last year and is also a young leader from Pacific Forum. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Patrick. Along with Patrick, this panel will welcome two speakers to help us gain insights on AI's potential and risks. Please welcome with me Min-Chuan Wu, co-founder and CEO of Double Think Tank Lab. Double Think Tank Lab is a non-profit organization focusing on researching Chinese influence operations and disinformation campaigns through digital tools and methodologies it has developed. Wu Min-Chuan, also known as TT-Cat, is the co-founder and CEO of Double Think Tank Lab. Min-Chuan focuses on mapping China's information operation mechanisms and combat against digital authoritarianism. This is a very important work, especially for the Asian region, so we are very honored to be able to bring Min-Chuan's expertise to SEASAT participants. Please give a warm round of applause to Min-Chuan Wu. Our second speaker for this session is Chia-Yi Kuo, founder and president of Taiwan Digital Diplomacy Association. The Taiwan Digital Diplomacy Association, also known as TDDA, is a non-profit organization that strives to enhance innovative civic diplomacy actions through digital content and promoting events. Ms. Chia-Yi Kuo is the founder and president of TDDA. She focuses on promoting social networking advocacy and international exchange between Taiwan and its diplomatic partners, using the internet to gain further international exposure. Her leadership has enabled the TDDA to promote various Taiwanese causes across over 280 media outlets in 25 countries. Ms. Kuo, thank you for taking the time to share your expertise with us today. On behalf of the Taiwan-Asia Exchange Foundation and all SEASAT delegates, we would like to thank the three of you for taking the time to meet our young leaders from Asia and beyond. All right, I see that our speakers are comfortably seated, so I will hand it over to Patrick, who will moderate this panel.
Thank you, Faiti. Good morning, everyone. Before we begin, allow me to thank the Taiwan-Asia Exchange Foundations and Ministry of Foreign Affairs for inviting me to this prestigious youth conference. My name is Patrick Kurniawan. I'm a MOFA Taiwan Fellow from Indonesia and also a proud alumnus of the SEASAT program. It is my honor and privilege to take on the role of moderator to officially kick off the first session of SEASAT 2025. Now, timing, I believe, is the key word for the sessions. We are now living at an inflection point where artificial intelligence, leadership transitions, and geopolitical fragmentations are not just buzzwords. They are concepts that constantly reshapes how states govern, how societies engage, and how power is distributed. The questions that is no longer whether these trends affect us, but how we as youth responded and adapt. This session is specifically designed to help us make sense of that shifting terrain and explore how we can not just be an observer, but an active participant in shaping the rules of the road ahead. That is why I'm thrilled to be accompanied by these two amazing speakers, Ms. Kuo and Mr. Wu. Welcome. I cannot wait to listen to your insight and learn from your experience for the next hour. Without further ado, let's start with our first speaker. Ms. Kuo, you will have 8 minutes maximum for the presentations, and then we're going to proceed to the second speaker, and then we can have a panel discussions after that. Ms. Kuo, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jiao from TDDA, and I guess why I'm invited here today is because I was participating in the AI Summit in Paris this February. Taiwan Digital Diplomacy Association, we actually are an NGO, aims to increase the visibility of Taiwan through social media campaigns worldwide and also through international reports. And at the same time, we also noticed that the trending of AI is also influencing our civil society. So this year, I took the invitation of the French government and I went to Paris to participate in the AI Summit. And I'm happy to be here to share some of my experience and observations with you this year. Okay, so let's start. So I think most of you have heard that artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution and also the next frontier of innovations. But today I want to argue that AI is also the next battleground of governance, especially geopolitics. Why I'm saying this? Because AI is not just about chips, it's not just about patents, it's also about how we choose to organize the societies. As I participating in the AI Summit in Paris, I realized that there are many different stakeholders in the AI industries, and also people from different countries. They are also working for their own interest, and they are working for, they want to create more space and flexibility for their AI industry in their own country. For example, when I was in the AI Summit, I can see representatives from the EU, and also I saw big companies from the US, and they were arguing about how much should we regulate the AI in our world. And I could see that in the EU, they are talking about, because EU already have the AI Act many years ago, like 5 years ago already. So EU, they were arguing that we should protect more privacy and we should have more transparency of AI government. But as we can see that from the US side, there are a lot of arguments are talking about the EU has too much regulations about AI, because the US government, they support for selling data, or they want to earn more money by learning humans' behaviors or our internet behaviors online and transfer it into benefits. So I could see that in the panel discussions and also some private meetings, people from the EU side and the US side, they are arguing about how much we should put the regulations on AI. But and interesting from in the meetings, we also have some representatives from Asia, and we can see that DeepSeek also have representative groups in the AI Summit. They didn't talk much, but I just want to share my observations that I feel that AI nowadays is not only about technologies. It's about who are the people who are setting the norms or values behind the system. Because as Taiwanese, we are very aware about the rise of DeepSeek, and DeepSeek because we have a long history with China and China's government. So when the rise of DeepSeek, many Taiwanese were discussing about, is it really neutral? Is AI really neutral? I mean, DeepSeek, is it really neutral? Will they collect our data or our opinions and then analyze us and give us some censorship? So I also would like to argue that AI is not actually neutral, no matter it's from China's government or from EU or from the US. AI is not neutral. It really depends on what kind of values the government cherish or what kind of values they want to put on their users. So, and also, like before we talk about AI and the government, I also would like to ask you, like maybe we can discuss later, like I also would like to ask you to think about what AI is allowed to do today. I know all of you are, you can say you are the AI generations. You are born with the AI skills. I feel my interns sometimes use AI better than me. But we also have to think about what AI is allowed to do and who get benefits from our AI behaviors and what kind of AI goods, like public goods, we are serving. Like, how do we make decisions? Do we really we want to totally rely on AI, or we do have the decision-making process for policy, which really includes everyone's voice? Or we just turn to AI and ask, hey, how do you think about this decision? So in the AI era, we have to be really, really careful. And also, like, AI governance is becoming a new era for global competition. In the AI Summit in Paris this year, I could see that a lot of leaders, many leaders from the world, including Modi, also presidents from all around the world, they were sitting there and everyone wanted to say that their countries will be the lead of the AI. So I feel that AI is a new battleground and also a new field for international competition. But apart from competition, we also have to think about how to collaborate with each others, because not all the countries have the powers or have the resources to develop AI industry. And when we talk about the competition of international governance in AI, I have 3 points that I would like to share. Like, we can, when you look at the international competition, we can think about the first one, the infrastructure dependency, which means when a country builds its public service or surveillance system of foreign AI platforms, it may inherit the nation's values, rules, and vulnerabilities. So infrastructure dependency is just like what I say, like what kind of infrastructure you are using for your AI model. You have to be carefully identify what kind of infrastructure dependency is this country using. And the second is the standard setting. The more a governance model is adopted globally, the more likely it becomes de facto international law. You know, AI Act is something very new. Apart from the EU, I don't think other countries in the world really have carefully looked into what kind of law they are going to put on AI. But in today's, we can see that a lot of people in some countries, they are using AI and without regulations. And when we are using AI without regulations, one day it will become something like de facto. When it becomes de facto, countries who have the biggest powers, the bigger power to buy AI norms or to use AI resources might become the person or the one who regulate the law. It is quite dangerous. So the second I would like to remind is about the standard setting. Okay, let me finish the last point. And then the last point I will share is about digital sovereignty. Like, countries without their own AI models often have to choose between competing governance regimes. Do they align with the US models about innovation, or they want to align with China about the AI models of China, which means censorship? So we really have to think about this carefully, about digital sovereignty. Yeah, I know time's up, and I will share more in the later discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ko, for that short presentation. Perhaps we can explore further in the panel discussion. Next, Mr. Wu, you may have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mingxuan Wu. It's my real name. I go by TTCat as Alice. I'm co-founder and CEO of Doublethink Lab. We started in 2019, September, so it's roughly 6 years right now. What we do is mainly focus on how China influence Taiwan, interference, our election, political system, and as well as in Indo-Pacific and the world. So we do a couple of things. One is we host our own research, specifically on how China propaganda and the disinformation campaign works. We are not fact-checking initiative, but we are checking who is amplifying, how they amplify on social media and through other means. So we publish a lot of a report. We also do a network in the Indo-Pacific region for capacity building, training for more investigators. We work with certain regional partners. Secondary, we do a global network community for understanding China influence, overall influence. That one is not particularly about information, but all kind of a united front work, BRI initiative, and also other means that how China PRC using their influence operation to gain their more influence in other countries. So out of this network community, the researchers from all over the world, they produce a joint research projects. It's called China Index. You can Google on your phone. This China Index is a global ranking. Right now we rank for 101 countries in the world for how China they can compare the China influence around these 100 countries. So the number one so far in this edition is Pakistan, and then followed by, I think, Cambodia and Singapore and so on, right? So welcome to check it out. And out of that, we do a lot of research. We also have a colleague based in Manila, in Malaysia, and also Seoul. The reason that we are expanding to the region is also because we are looking at how we are looking at increase the capacity for us to be able to compare what's happening in Taiwan and elsewhere, right? So compare the tactic and the technique. So this new AI stuff is really a game changer for you can imagine for our study research field, right? A lot of this disinformation campaign, it was created by main source. They need to have software. They need to have at least they need to have a manpower to work on those content or materials. Now it can all going down to the AI tool, and they can only have one person. So they also lay off a lot of labor. That's bad news. So give you one example. So last year, 10 days before our election. General election. There is a campaign circulating online. It's the whole story is about a e-novel, which is also AI generated book. It's talking about our former president Tsai Ing-wen. She had a secret life, and the whole book is talking about how she used her evil scheme and everything and leveraged her and become so powerful, something like that. And then there's a video with this TV news anchor to talk about, hey, have you heard about this ebook? And let me tell you what it is inside. And those video, you have multiple different TV news anchor. Of course, they are all AI generated. And it's circulating. There's almost 200, even more channels built 10 days before the election on the YouTube, and they also flirt those information into all kind of a social media platform, even Reddit or even some small online forum. They even email to random Taiwanese email, like a spam email, say, hey, have you thought about this, right? And we found the evidence that showed the whole ebook was generated by a simplified Chinese user on their laptop. So, but before, if it's 5 years ago or 3 years ago, we will assume that this campaign is done by at least maybe 5 to 10 people, or they have a certain amount of a resource to create so many videos and to cross-post it and spend email to Taiwanese people. But then right now with those generative AI tool, it could be just one guy, right? One geek or one nerd sitting on his computer. So this is already changing, and we also see multiple attempts for them to combine those generative AI tools to ChatGPT or to their cyber troop or their cyber trope, their bots, especially on comment sessions. They they're pretending as one of your voter in your society. So this is really changing our information space. So today, I think we will talk about a lot of this like bad news, but also share some good news for how we're going to defend and how we're going to build the brighter future with our younger generation. Especially when we also need to think ahead that how we prevent those tools to be misused and especially be used by authoritarian or totalitarian regime. Because it makes fake so easy, and telling lie and make fake is the reason why the dictator across the whole world becomes so powerful. So I'm looking forward to our conversation today, and thank you for having me here again. Yes.
Right, thank you to our two speakers for those brief presentations. Now let's join a panel discussions, and then later on we can entertain questions from the floor as well. So my first question here is for Ms. Guo. You mentioned earlier regarding the battleground of AI, where these major countries, major players such as the EU, such as the US, and even China have their own regime of AI regulations. I was wondering, since a lot of the participants here are youth from different countries, can you perhaps explain to them what is Taiwan model of governance for artificial intelligence?
I think Taiwan is at a critical place because we produce 90% of the semiconductor chips in the world, and Taiwan is kind of in the middles between like choosing China or the U.S. Like geopolitically wise or like people's mindset wise. I think it's a very critical time for us right now, especially maybe some of you have heard that we have some political conflicts in Taiwan this year. We have big fights in parliaments, recall going on, and people are debating about which direction we are going with in the future. But at the same time, besides from choosing between China and the US, I think Taiwan's civil society or Taiwan's government also have our own creativity, I would say, because Taiwan is a democratic country, and we have a very active civil society. So as I see in the past few years, I feel Taiwanese NGOs also working hard on like finding out what kind of direction should we go by ourselves. For example, I see that Taiwan, we have NGO, they are using AI to do fact checking. And also Taiwan is developing like federal learning models, which means we can keep the privacy of all the organizations who are using the AI models, but we do the learning without taking the private information from the users. We are developing a federal learning system. And also, for example, our association, TDDA, we are also trying to use AI to do our daily work. Like we do social monitoring. And AI really help us a lot to do the social monitoring, because before we have to hire many researchers and we do the social monitoring all day. But now with the help of AI, it's much more convenient. So I see that many Taiwanese NGOs are trying to use AI to do something good. But at the same time, we want to share with the world that Taiwan actually can contribute to the world not only by chips but also by the new models, the new AI models, or the new applications about how AI can be applied to social issues. We want to tell the world that we are working on it, but I feel that most of the people in the world, they focus more on how Taiwan would choose to go along with China or the U.S. But yes, this is something that we have to decide as well. It's not everything of it. So I feel that Taiwan have to get very nice balance between having our own space and our democracy, our creativity, but at the same time we have to work carefully about the message or the signals we send out to the world that what kind of models or what kind of policy direction we are going with, like the UI or US or China. But also I feel Taiwan is at the front lines of democracy. Maybe the world is also watching, like as a chip manufacturing or a chip country like Taiwan, we produce semiconductors, and how it can influence a country in how this industry can really influence us in this AI era. It would be a totally new discussion. It would be, for me, it would be very different with what we have before. So I think Taiwan is in a critical point of choosing our own road. Thank you.
Right, now moving to Mr. Wu. Earlier you tell a story regarding the Chinese propaganda in the Taiwanese elections. That is something that even I, as Indonesians, I can totally relate to that. We have controversies in our elections as well, particularly with the involvement of TikTok and social media, propaganda, chatbots, something that you also explore in your speech earlier. How does Taiwan, in the previous elections, try to combat this propaganda from the Chinese?
Well, a lot of this counter propaganda effort are actually coming from the civil society. In Taiwan, we have, as you may know, there's a lot of community for fact checkers, a lot of individual or even influencers is publicly talking about those misinformation or propaganda cases, and but as whether it's success to counter or combating, I would be more conservative on that. Last year during the election, we also did a telephone polling to see, and we asked the voters for a lot of a common narrative especially from China, whether you believe that who should be responsible for Ukrainian war, or whether you believe that U.S. is not going to help Taiwan at all, they are hypocrite, or whether you believe Taiwan has no freedom of expression. DPP, which is our ruling party, has no different than Communist Party in China. In all these questions, you see KMT supporter, which is our major opposition party. They are also the one who come to Taiwan, retreat from the civil war, come to Taiwan. And the third party, TPP supporter, they have 70% to 80% supporting rate to all those questions. So it's a very polarized society right now. So you have nearly a half of people believe that DPP, Taiwan has no freedom of expression. DPP, ruling party, is no different than the CCP. And also, when we talk about the Ukrainian war, there's a 50% of a KMT supporter believe is U.S. fault rather than Russia. So because of all this, like KMT or TPP, they are also the major audience for those poor China news or media. They are receiving a lot of a narrative or a lot of this story frame is directly from PRC or share very common ideology. So I think that in the way that how Taiwan can more effectively counter the propaganda or misinformation, I'm not really sure we get to that point yet, but there's a lot of a conversation is going on, especially with what Jiao just mentioned, like STRATCOM, strategic communication. The government should set up some kind of this like a tech force, and also work with directly with a lot of poor Democrat influencers or civil society. So yeah, it's an ongoing process, I would say.
I think that is interesting. One thing that perhaps some of you were not aware of, Taiwan is truly at the beacon of democracy in Asia. It's consistently at the top in terms of democracy index. So I think in the age where there are a lot of democratic backsliding in different regions of the world, including in Southeast Asia, in South Asia, even in the US right now, it is even more important that countries and other players beyond just the US that supports democracy play a more integral role in determining democratic governance. But my question next is also for the both of you. I think when it comes to AI, a lot of these regulations are merely related on how to regulate data, right, and privacy. So the issue that I consistently confused about when it comes to AI and privacy is what are the line? How do we consistently push the boundaries for new inventions of AI without violating the rights to privacy? Those are a lot of the questions that these regulations between China and the US and the EU often seems to grasp with, to struggle with. So how do we push the boundaries for technology without violating the rights to privacy? Perhaps any of you would like to open?
Okay. I think it's everyone is asking the same question. How do we keep privacy while developing AI? Because I work in the industry about social media campaigns or international promotions for years. So I would use similar logic to reply this question, to answer this question. I think for AI companies who are developing services for people to entering data and upload to their clouds, they have to reveal that what is the regulations or what are the rules they are generating or they are collecting data. They have to be transparent, and also they also have to have a very specific team. They are doing this kind of ethical monitoring of themselves. Because maybe some of you have heard that Meta was accused about they are doing censorship to Hong Kong and Taiwan. So whenever Hong Kong and Taiwanese people uploaded something like when we are talking something about China's government or when we are talking something about our own social movement, the outreach would be really, really bad of our social media post. And the problem of this like Meta incident is that the censorship groups, for example, for Taiwan, the censorship group of Meta, they are in Singapore, and the team, some of the team members, they are Chinese people. I'm not talking about all the Chinese people in Singapore. I doing it, but just it caused us attention that some of the censorship team members in Singapore. About Taiwan, they are from China. And because Taiwan and China, we have the, our original setting is like we are kind of enemy or against each other because we have very complicated political situation. So it becomes a problem that when the censorship team have Chinese people in it, it creates a lot of bias. And we are discussing some regulations with Taiwanese government that should we ask the Meta company reveal who are the censorship members and where are they from, what are their backgrounds, and what are the rules of the creating this kind of censorship. Because for Taiwanese, we have no ideas what kind of content would be eliminated on social media. It usually happens like when some NGO people try to talk about some social movements or some social issues, and then we found out, oh, the outreach is really, really bad, and we will alarm each others, and then we would know that this topic is kind of banned on Meta or on social on Meta already. So we don't have any clues. Like as citizens, we don't have any clues that how the censorship of these big technology companies, we have no ideas who are the people and how do they decide to select our information. And as I said, AI is not neutral. So I hope all of you, when you are using AI, no matter what kind of AI models, no matter you are using ChatGPT, Cloud, DeepSeek, you have to keep in mind that AI is not neutral. And each technology company, they have their own agenda and they have their own political tendency as well. So for now, just like TTCat said, that we don't really have solutions for this in like massive AI changes, but what we can do is like keeping alarm like with each others and increase our AI media literacy and keep in mind that AI is not neutral. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir Wu?
Privacy. I'm not really optimist on this one. I think the line is changing with different time. And in your generation, you might consider other things as a privacy, other things was not, very different than us. You know, in my previous generation, they put their home address and the telephone on this like a yellow book, and you can buy it, and everyone can get free to, you know, access their phone number. But right now, in our generation, we consider phone number as a, you know, privacy data. It's like very different. And you know, right now, if you're a social media platform, Netflix, they know what you like, or even the porn website knows exactly what you're watching. Some people find it convenience because they recommend good stuff for you, but some people, maybe older like me, feel like I'm not that comfortable about having a technology company know that much detail about me. So I think the privacy conversation will keep fighting, but it will definitely change. The norm and the line will definitely change. But I also want to talk about, like Jiayou mentioned, this is a industry revolution, right? So you guys are at a very lucky position because you kind of, it's kind of like, you know, when I was 13 years old or 14, when the internet just came up, right? And our parent generation, they don't understand what it is, but they start to work around the internet. They have to. They start write emails, but maybe that's everything they can do. But in our generation, we have, you know, there's a lot of online games, online dating. There's a lot of issue that our parents never encounter or never imagined. So this will be the AI age for you guys. That there will be a lot of opportunity, but you can think of that everything. I mean, like literally everything will embed this new technology in your future. So that make very exciting, right? Because there will be a lot of this science fiction or sci-fi movie becoming the truth, but also scaring because there will be a lot of things that we don't want as military, security related. This like a surveillance. They used to only everywhere you have the CCTV, but you found maybe they don't have that much time to watch every video for every move. But then now it can all dump into this AI machine to analyze. They can recognize you. They can track you. They can understand your move, your behavior, your habit, what you're watching. This is also the perfect dream for those dictators, right? But they also have their fear because they are not like us. We are also looking for how those technology can empower everybody, can free our human labor, can make more creative or innovation. But for dictator, their first thought is that how I can control this technology and not for them to be used against me, right? So for people like Xi Jinping, the first thing he wants to make sure for their like DeepSeek or their own version of GPT is make sure that they don't output anything that is not fitting to my political correct. And as you all know, it's very, very hard, right? Because making the ChatGPT always correct or always align with certain principle, it's what everybody is working on right now, right? So it's very hard. So, but that make us a room or a gap as an opportunity to be more ahead than those authoritarian regimes. Not to also mention those AI is powered by real-world chips, and that chip is now controlled by majority is controlled by democratic countries. So I will end it here.
I think because thanks to the both of you, what you mentioned earlier, Ms. Kuo, you mentioned the case of Meta, and Mr. Wu, you mentioned the role of AI and how it can use to sustain dictatorship regime. I remember one particular case involving AI. It's regarding Meta in 2017. So Facebook unknowingly and because of ignorance supported the Myanmar genocide in 2017. So what the issue was not because Facebook was knowingly in support of genocide, but because they tried to promote engagement with social media. So the way the algorithm worked with Facebook in 2017 is that they're going to push for topics that have a lot of engagement, and at the time, those topics in Myanmar that have a lot of engagements are propaganda against the Rohingya people in 2017. So unknowingly, even big companies from democratic countries can also support issues such as genocides, hate speech, propaganda. So my last question would be, how then, as part of a democratic alliance, we should respond and regulate these multinational companies?
Okay, thank you, Patrick. This is good examples of how we have to be aware about the technology company. They decide what kind of information we can see. It also made me think of that after Trump get into powers, he canceled all the rules which is against discrimination from Biden's time on AI industries. So during the Biden time, the U.S. government, they try very hard on preventing discriminations on AI information. But after Trump get into the power, he canceled all of it. So we can foresee that maybe in the future, like at least in the U.S., we cannot prevent this kind of discrimination or hate speeches on AI somehow, but we have to be aware about that. So your question is about how to regulate this company. It's very difficult. I would not be so optimistic, but something we can do as citizens or as like small countries, like we want to keep the values during the AI eras. I would say that we have to do multi-vector diplomacy. Like we have to select our partners, not only align with just one single partners. You don't have to just choose one partner or one source to develop your AI. For example, maybe for us, we can choose the U.S. We have some commercial interact. We have some trade, but also we can choose the EU. That we can collaborate with some European companies to strengthen the ethical part of our AI development. And also maybe you can choose Taiwan. Like our chips are more clean. That we produce the chips that we don't steal like private information from backdoor. So as small countries like Taiwan or ASEAN countries, we are not the biggest powers in the world, but we can choose carefully about who will be the partners we want to align with. So I think this, like in the future decades, it will be very chaotic, and we have to stay in connections and contact each others and also share informations and experience regularly to prevent that the bias of one big power or one source. That would be my answer. Thank you.
Well, talking about the regulation, I think there's two things, maybe mainly three different topics that we should pay more attention about. One is that the AI be used on the sensitive area like military, security, or biometric and everything on that, because that, as you know, we cannot stop it, but it's happening right now, and it has a real world impact to our humanity, right, as a species. And the secondary is that whether how we can make sure those AI is, especially the ChatGPT related or this kind of like a chatbot, is actually outputting the real or more neutral answers as people expect it to be. Because I don't know if you pick up the news that Elon Musk just said that his own AI Grok is polluted by a lot of work ideology, and he will wipe out all the training source and make a better version. If one rich guy can influence the ideology of the AI tool, the chatbot, I think this will show an example to it. It will be just more, it will be a game race, and it will be like people who have the most power or money, they can dictate what ideology should be going to those chatbot, and they will use that to promote it and to influence the world. Just like, can you imagine that if one day that all the major GPT or chatbot in the world will tell you that Taiwan is part of the China? It was all, in the history for a long time. Then our generation, next generation, how would they get those information, because nobody, I cannot say nobody, but it's like less and less people doing the search on Google, less and less people going to those websites to see the source. They are getting the news, or they're getting this AI review from the Google or directly from GPT, right? Ask yourself, right? I think that's the second one. And third one is the algorithm, right? So the algorithm for recommendatory or like a preference recommendation system on the social media or any kind of a platform is dictating what you can see, what you can see. You thought that you can post something different, but if the algorithm is not helping you promote it or reaching out the audience, your stuff, even you posted it, it's just be there. Nobody will actually view it, right? So this algorithm is now, it's still a black box, but it's mainly powered by AI. And we already see that rich people, just because they're rich, they can buy social media company, or they can build one there on their self, or they can force the company like Meta to ban on their wishes to manipulate those algorithms and to dictate what to show to people, what not to. And then they get the real power, real political power. And for all that, I want to say is that I really want to believe that in our next generation or your generation, we found it absurd, right? Because it's like, why we can allow those things to happen. I'm speaking as an example for, maybe 200 years ago, when a rich person tell you that, hey, if we burn this, we can make money for everybody. Then everybody would be very happy, and everybody jump in to build a factory and burn it as much as possible, and everybody would be very happy. The government even give like a free land or a lot of subsidies to help them to burn it, because 200 years ago there was no any norm or regulation on the environment protection at all. So there's no any standard for air, for water pollution, for any kind of it. It's until people realize it harm our body, harm our health, or harm our society, then they start to have a lot of a pushback and make a lot of this environmental protection regulation and everything. So before we jump into that, whether or not we have enough of the evidence, or people start to realize it's really harmful for our society as an information integrity, as an information space. Because now it's like people can buy, we can buy comments, you can buy followers, you can, just because you're rich, you can be popular online. You can buy a lot of Abric or Indian followers, bots, or you can make your product more accessible by a lot of fake comments. And that tactic, that business is also be used on the political or on everything. So I mean, whether or not people can start to realize this is really harmful our information integrity or harmful our democratic process, then we can start to talk about how we form a new norm, a social norm, and the regulation to protect it.
Right, before we are going to Q&A session, if I am allowed to give a short conclusion for our short panel sessions, I think there are two important lessons from this discussion. First, I think choose your friends wisely, because it's very important to know where you get your information from, which country you align your regulations with, which companies that you open your border for. This kind of important decisions, especially during the artificial intelligence era, will be very crucial to determining how free your nations can be. And then secondly, questions everything. We don't know where informations are coming from. People with capital constantly have control over the media, and governments, the rise of dictatorship, can constantly change how we see, how we receive informations from social media. With that being said, I'll give back the floor to Vaiti.
Huge thanks to our speakers and moderators for sharing their insights. May we give them a round of applause, please? I have learned a lot, and I'm sure our delegates coming from all around the world have some remarks. So now we'll be opening a Q&A session. So this time is for you to ask any question or remarks you have linked to your background, your country, or whatever remark you want to share. Feel free to raise your hand if you want to ask questions, and I'll bring the mic to you. Please introduce yourself very briefly, and then address your question directly to one of the speakers.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and good morning, delegates and our guests. So that was very insightful discussion. By the way, I'm Christine from the Philippines. And with all the topic that you tackled a while ago, revolving about AI and its ability to actually create and make something or like discuss or give ideas to the people. My question is, do you think AI could serve as a strategic advisor to a country's president?
I think we'll collect 3 questions.
Should I stand? All right. Wait. Hold on. Give me a minute. So, hello everyone. Oh my God. Okay. So my name is Noor from Malaysia. I'm a law student. So that's a very informative and very insightful for me. So this question is specifically to Ms. Kyo. So as you say that AI is a new battleground and competitions, and the idea of the AI or tools that being oftenly used could be the de facto international law. Is that what Taiwan's approach, as you said, Taiwan is working on a new model? Or do also Taiwan plan to create regulations like EU to limit the use of AI, or Taiwan stand is more like US stand, in which they don't want to limit the potential of AI in that industry? And that's the question. Thank you.
Oh, the gentleman in the black shirt. We'll collect more questions later, don't worry.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Ali. I came from Indonesia. So the thing that I underline based on your presentations is the inclusivity about the contributions to tackle the propaganda that you mentioned earlier. But my side of the world, I was just really curious about the contributions of the young people, especially for a youth, to contribute into the policy making, including to tackle the issue of the propaganda itself. Because, if we see the elections, or maybe a few of things of the contributions of the youth, especially on the AI problem, they're much not correlated to contribute the youth in that case. So, from your explanations about how the crucial it is to underline or bold the inclusivity in the policy making, whether it's top-down or the grassroots level, how do you see this, or how do you tackle this issue if you in the government sides? Thank you.
Right, let's answer these questions first. First questions, can AI be an advisor to a president? Okay. Any of you would like to tackle that question?
I think I can answer these questions because I happen to be in the Committee of Presidential Office. I'm in the Committee of Presidential Office about the civil defense in Taiwan. I think AI, it can be a tool, but it cannot directly be the consultant of a president. I have to admit that during the meetings or collecting the information, I use AI to do the research for the Presidential Office Committee as well. AI helped me a lot about collecting information or reading reports, or like we do some analysis about social monitoring as well. So whenever we have new ideas, sometimes I ask AI about its opinions or how it like what is this analysis about the social monitoring. But I think the answer for your questions is that we do need real people to be the consultant of president, because like only human can do the ethical selections, and only human can be the filter, or we are the gate of the information we want to deliver. So I would say that of course we can use AI to help us make more precise policy decision making, but we do have to we have to value humans in this industry, because all the decision we are making, it will influence a lot of people. So we do need real people to be the gate or the consultant for president. Yeah.
Jessica, do you want to add to that?
Well, I cannot decide whether they will use it or not. But if I get to say, of course, I don't think they should consult AI tools, because it make the vulnerability too easy and too obviously for anyone behind the scene to manipulate it. So you guys need to know that if you are not using the AI tools that you built by your own, you basically log into another person's computer, right? So when you open a ChatGPT website, everything you enter is going to the OpenAI server, and it will be there, right? And the OpenAI employee, of course, they need some ranking or some permission, but they get to see whatever you type in, everything. Okay, that's why they can find out the China or Russia actor is misusing their tools for propaganda campaign, because they get to see everything, right? So you thought you are talking to a bot or a AI privately and very intimately. No, it's just other people's server, right? So unless you have your own stuff. And the secondly is that we need to understand how this GPT LLM work, right? So it work as they are manipulating the words, right? So they are predicting what's the best matching or predicting the next word, and then they combine every word they have as a context, and they're predicting the next token, right? So that's how they run this repeatedly until they have this output, and it looks like they have their own thoughts, but it basically just a math, right? And this like manipulating words. It's very, by essentially, it's very dangerous for policymakers if they are all react on that. But I'm also not optimistic about that, because we already see the president who are heavily react on social media for every stuff, right? And it's not going to surprise if we see next president come in and they tell you that I'm going to do this because AI told me this is the best option, right? In the end of the day, we still need accountability, and those AI tools cannot make it accountability.
I want to add on that. Just clarify, I didn't type any like private information from the government into AI. I never do it, because I know, just like TDK said, everyone can see it in the technology company if I do it. So the way I use AI for making policy advices for the government is that I use AI to read reports or use AI to do simple works, just for me to clarify the informations. And I think the values of human participating in this decision-making process is that we have our own life experience. When we are giving advices to the government, we have to put our life experience, and also we have to collect other people's life experience and their opinions. We have to collect real people's opinions, and then we add into it. So I think with AI, we really can fasten the research process. Is really convenient, but remember, you are human, so you have to think about what are your unique experience and your unique insights to these topics. And then if you can combine these two together, it can be really powerful and efficient. So don't be afraid of using AI, but remember that your value is higher than AI, okay?
Fantastic answer. Next question. So, what is Taiwan's stance in AI?
Yeah, I think it's a good question because as I see, as a civil organizations, I see that Taiwan really want to learn from the EU about the AI Act and want to learn their ethical regulations. But in reality, Taiwan, I would say, is more like the U.S. way, because for Taiwan's AI companies, they do need a lot of investment. They need a lot of money to generate, to work, or to operate. So most of the companies we saw in Taiwan, they are from the U.S. And the most influential technology company in Taiwan are American companies. So I would say that ideally, we want to follow the EU to have a very high standard of our privacy, transparency, and everything is about AI industry. But in reality, I would say that Taiwanese companies or government, we actually following the American way doing it. But something for sure that we are very aware about Chinese companies in Taiwan. We have to reveal who are, if you have Chinese investor here, we request them to reveal their status and also who are in this company. And the situation in Taiwan is kind of complicated because some people, they don't see China's government as a threat. So some Taiwanese company will also, they have some cooperation with China's companies as well. So this is very hard to it's very hard to tackle with. But I would say that in general, we follow the American governments or American companies' regulations, and we are working hard on telling people that there are some risk to cooperate with Chinese company, especially we are Taiwanese. So yeah, I think it's a long way to go, but we have to keep doing it. And yeah, for the international law, you also mentioned international law. The international law is still very vague, but we assume that there will be some AI international law in the next few years very soon. So like I feel that maybe Taiwan, because we follow the American governments more than the EU, and also the US government are, they do have a lot of powers in this AI industry. So I feel that the international law will mostly be shaped by the US government, and Taiwan will just follow this way. This is my prediction. It's just my assumption.
I guess the third questions can be for both of you. So how do you make AI more inclusive for youth to participate?
For that particular one, I cannot answer on behalf of our government. But we do try to, in our daily work, we try to use a lot of AI tools right now. We have developed our own algorithm for detecting those propaganda campaign more easily to help our analysis. And I think I saw and we are also developed similar tool for fact checkers. A lot of young journalists are can be used and can be empowered by those tools for their daily work, so they can filter, not do the fact checking for them, but they can filter what should be fact checked, what cannot be fact checked, and what is more urgent because of the outbreak or the other indicators. So this is kind of an attempt, I guess, with the civic hackers or community. That's something to show that those tools can be more open and for everybody can use. I think that's the most important. Yeah, it cannot be only, it cannot be only controlled by major tech companies. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to share one example from our association because we are collaborating with some university students about AI media literacy tools. Because I know the AI generations, they like you got a lot of information on AI, and also you got a lot of information on social media. So this year, actually started from last year, there were a group of university students. We were collaborating together on these media literacy tools. It is a kind of Google Chrome extension. Like we are developing applications that you just have to download it, and it will become your Google Chrome extension. And while you are browsing some web pages, the AI tools will jump out and tell you which part has already been fact-checked. Because we linked the AI tools to the source of the fact-check center, Taiwan. So it automatically would show you, when you are reading some articles, it shows you how many percentage is trustworthy of this article, because this paragraph and this paragraph has already been fact-checked. And also we will mark the China's vocabularies, because for now, Taiwanese young people usually receive a lot of information on TikTok. So we got the influence of China's vocabulary, the mixture of China's vocabulary and Taiwanese vocabularies. The dangers of the China's vocabularies is that whenever we see the trend that Taiwanese young people, when they see China's propaganda, it's more difficult for them to recognize it because they are so used to the China's vocabularies. We share the same language, So the China vocabularies for us is kind of a risk and a threat. So our AI tools started to mark the Chinese vocabularies. So I just want to say this tool is totally built by university students. I know maybe not all of you are studying engineering, but with these AI tools, we not only need engineering students, we also need social science students or students who are better at literacy or readings like text. Because when we were developing these tools, we realized that when we want to distinguish propaganda from China, we do need a lot of real people, which means researcher, to read into those contents. And we have to make definitions that what are propagandas. Because even AI, they cannot define what is propaganda themselves. But again, it means when we are defining what is propaganda, it means we choose one position. It means we choose one side. But if we want to do the good for your countries to prevent the influence of foreign propaganda, we have to choose our own position. And also we need real people to work. When we are developing this AI tool, we have to coordinate together, like engineering students and social science students, we have to work together. So my suggestions for the youth to participate in the AI era, like you can think about what kind of creativities that you can use by AI. I believe you do have a lot of creative projects you can come up with about AI. And I would say you can be more open about cross-field collaboration. You can try to collaborate with people from different professions, because AI, it's just a tool. It gives you information, but the definition and the source or even the position, you have to decide by your own. So you have to consult with different people, and you have to contribute different experience or opinions to it, and you can have better AI models. And also, just like I would say that don't stop asking questions. Don't stop asking questions while your peers are using AI. Because it's very hard for us to compete with foreign governments or to compete with big enterprises, but at least you can influence people around you. So when you are using AI or your friends are using AI, don't forget to ask questions. And the questions, you don't have to rush into quick answer. You can spend some time, slow down, spend some time, and find out what are the answers for those questions. So I know AI would make you, you were getting used to it. Everything is so quick, so fast, so convenient. But remember to slow down sometimes and think about it, ask questions, and ask about people's opinions, and try to include humans' experience or humans' opinions into this decision-making process. I would say that would be my advice, is like stay in connection with each other. Thank you.
I am Sana Hashmi. I am a fellow with Taiwan-Asia Exchange Foundation. I think it's a very important discussion. AI is not my area, but my area is geopolitics. And now since we are discussing AI, specifically the question about if AI could be the advisor to the president. As in, both the panelists have answered it really well. There is a question of accountability. There is a question of confidentiality. But I do believe that we have to be careful while we talk about AI, because you guys are AI generation. And I know that it's kind of indispensable. You cannot really ignore it. This generation is much more dependent on AI than we ever were. We had to write, we didn't even have the proper internet when we were studying. So perhaps it was a blessing in disguise in a way. But I do believe that AI, if you have used it, it's actually very manipulative. There is an agenda. If you ask a question to ChatGPT, you will get a different answer. But if you ask a question to DeepSeek, the Chinese one, you get a totally different answer. But I do believe that you have to be very, very careful. For example, if Xi Jinping asks a question to, what is it, DeepSeek? For the Chinese thing, yeah? DeepSeek, the answer would be yes, Taiwan is China's to claim, and China should invade Taiwan. But you ask ChatGPT, perhaps the answer would be, it's a complicated issue, but Taiwan's story will not be narrated. There will not be any AI that would say that perhaps there are people in Taiwan who need to be considered. The self-determination of Taiwanese matter. So this is why the role of people is so important. So I do believe that people, the critical thinking is something that cannot be replaced. And I don't know if you have seen this recent study, which was at one of the universities. Now the cognitive thinking, the assessment of people is actually declining because people are so much relying on the AI. So I think this is something that perhaps this generation, and I think you mentioned it very well, that it's just a tool. It's not a replacement for human being. And I don't know if you've seen this ad on YouTube. There's this ad on YouTube that says that you are wasting the potential of AI by just using it for editing your emails. And I think we just should limit it to that, if at all we are using it. Beyond that, I think we are not only harming ourselves, we are also harming the next generation and the critical thinking that we as humans are supposed to do. So I think we do have to limit the use of AI. And how could we make the next generation more inclusive? I think you guys are more tech savvy. AI is making you more inclusive, and then I do feel that I'm not really inclusive when it comes to AI because I do not really know how to use AI. As I said, it's a blessing in disguise. And this is something that is just an advice, suggestion from someone who was from the past generation, I could say. It's just a tool. And then believe me, someone who has not used AI when I was in my 20s, it's not something that you should be relied on. It's just a tool. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hashmi, for the inputs. Now we'll open for more questions from the floor. Right. Okay, perhaps with the lady over there.
Hello, my name is Kat Guanyo. I am a young leader at Pacific Forum, and I also work at a global nonprofit working on women's economic empowerment and women, peace, and security. So my question is somehow already related to Patrick's concluding question and the question on inclusivity, but I do want to focus on the dimension of gender. So AI models are built on patriarchal values, experiences, and perspectives. And because of that, I think it's kind of detrimental to women peace builders who are always at the receiving end of AI-facilitated misogyny, hate speech, and disinformation. And because we have two panelists from Taiwan, and Taiwan being a champion of gender equality and one of the LGBTQ-friendly countries, I'm just curious, how does Taiwan's government and civil society implement and monitor practices, maybe policies that ensure that we minimize or even eliminate gender biases in AI systems? And maybe just a quick second question. Do we honestly think that policy and international standards can catch up to the fast-paced development of AI? Thank you.
Good question. Next, okay. Let's entertain the guy in the suit over there.
Hi, my name is Carlos. I'm from the Philippines. So my question is quite related to geopolitics, and thank you so much for the insights from the lecture. So I think that AI is already evolving to be a form of soft power even for countries, especially since the major superpowers who have access to these AI technologies can control the ideology, for example, or the data privacy of states who rely on the technologies, like smaller states who rely on DeepSeek or ChatGPT, for example. So my question would be, what do you think are the possible steps for smaller states, probably those who are developing countries or those from ASEAN or the Global South, to catch up and to lessen the gap in terms of the power asymmetry between those who already have access to these AI?
Right, thank you. One more questions? Right, from this side, the lady in blue.
Hello, good morning. I'm Angela. For context, I'm a geologist. So AI feels like magic. When you type in using the tools that we have, it pushes out different results. And I think from the discussion a while ago, there are accountability mechanisms in terms of AI in the social realm. But aside from the social impact of AI, I have read that AI also has impacts to the real world, like the environment. So I'm just interested, aside from the social accountability mechanisms for AI right now, are there also accountability mechanisms for the environmental dimension? Because that's also something that we have to think about, because AI systems use a lot of energy, they use a lot of resources that also have a real world impact, especially in the rapidly changing planet that we have. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we're going to proceed with answers from our speakers, perhaps around 2 to 3 minutes for each question, maximum. Right, so the first question is, how do we minimize gender bias in AI?
Okay. I would say for now, Taiwanese government doesn't have a gender policy for AI, unfortunately. But as we know that AI will give you information based on what are the inputs of the resource. So what we can do would be, I guess, like we have to advocate more about gender education, like gender equality education, which means when people type in those informations, they will not give the AI some discriminations words, or they would not create some discrimination opinions to AI. I think it have to start it from like people, like how like we feed AI about the informations. But for now, AI, as I see, AI try to be neutral about gender issues. It try to be neutral, but we don't know that maybe in 5 years or 10 years, if it got more information, how it will shape its gender equality results. Yeah, and I have to say most of the people working in technology companies are men, so it kind of creates some bias. For example, there was an AI robot. The AI robot, they do housework, and the appearance of the AI robot is a sexy woman. This is how technology company employees imagine how like housework AI robot should look like. So this kind of bias, it could happen. And what we can do is that whenever we see it happen, we have to raise our voice. We have to say that like why it is not correct, or why it is a kind of discrimination. But for now, to be honest, Taiwan doesn't have gender equality policy to AI. I believe many countries, they don't have either. It's very new, but it is something that in the future people have to think about, not only about gender, but also about racial, about many kinds of social issues we have to include in the information we are feeding to AI. And the second one is I don't think the international law can catch up the speed of AI development, because we are like humans is gradually being like slower than AI. Unfortunately, we can see that AI is developing very fast, but I think that people have to keep aware about this kind of risk, and it have to be discussed with internet governance together. Like AI is not just a technology thing. It's not just about who produce the best technology, who produce the best AI models. It's about who are making the decision behind all the settings. So when we are talking about AI development, we have to think about it closely with internet governance and also with geopolitics, with international relations. It's not about technology company alone anymore. So this is what we can advocate. As youth, you can advocate for these ideas, maybe on your social media, or you can write reports, or you can read more paper about it, or write your own paper. I'm looking forward. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sure. Well, so there's 3 questions. One is about gender, and another one is small state with the leverage and also the real world impacts. Well, I want to say that this AI, even though it looks like magic, but it actually is powered by the real chips, semiconductor power. It has to build like a physical infrastructure for it. So it's really it's still a machine. It's still a technology. So there will be a lot of a conversation. How I'm going to put it this way. I mean, it's not something virtual. It's not something in a virtual realm, and we need to create different policies around that. It's embedded it's happened like a real new industry, like other traditional industry, right? So you need to think about this as a physical industry rather than it's something on the air or on the cloud. And really focus on the real impact. This is much more important than chasing the changing, because the changing is very fast. So I give you one example. So a lot of the conversation in my research field, people are talking about AI labeling, right? Because people are concerning about those deepfake videos or image or audio. Right now, it's also not only political use, but also combined with the scammer, right? So there's a lot of infrastructure are shared with the scammer business. But the AI labeling is is something you can never, you can never fix this problem because first it gets more sophisticated even more and more every month, right? And second is that by next year today, maybe everything you saw online is generated by AI entirely, partially, or just a little bit outer, or when we take a photo right now, it has this like a filter, make our face prettier as also AI, but should we label those photos? Or if now I saw that it's like, I think the Korean television, they have this like embedded function that you play this like old video, they enhance the video resolution in real time and make it looks like 4K from your old videos. Does that video a real video at all, or is AI generated? Right. So how are you going to differentiate it? So I mean, and also this AI labeling is give you a false assumption that if something is not generated by AI, maybe it's real, which is not, right? So people can use the real photo, real video to tell the fake story too, right? So you don't want this label or this like try to differentiate whether this AI generated, not AI generated, to give you this like subconscious that to make a judgment about a true or fake. You need to still focus on what it is about, the message they try to tell you, and what the story behind, right? So, and that's my 2-cent suggestion. And about a small state, I really don't have the answer. Sorry.
It's okay, I can catch on that. Yeah. Yeah, the other question is about the environment, right? I think the environmental problem caused by AI industry would be really cruel because imagine that, like, nuclear waste. Where did the nuclear waste goes? It goes to those countries who don't have bargaining powers. And I predict that maybe in the future, the AI industry, they will also use the resources, environmental resources from those countries who don't have bargaining powers. So I think it can kind of relate to the other questions about what small countries can do, because we are the countries who don't have the bargaining powers about the AI industry. I think we have to foresee the future, and we have to aware and predict what is going to happen next, and then think about the precaution or the policy before it really happens. The AI industry, it doesn't have the environmental, it doesn't have too much environmental problem yet. But yeah, it's true, they might happen in the future. But as small countries, we have to be very careful about, like, as I say, it's an international competition. Like, do we get the benefits or do we get the cost of the AI development? We have to think about it. But also, don't be too pessimistic, because I see that as small countries, we also have the strengths that about flexibility. We have the strengths of flexibility and creativities. We got the tools in our hands. We can create all kinds of creative projects, just like the project our associations are doing. We have a lot of networks. For example, a few weeks ago, we hosted an online forum with an AI company in Ukraine. And we invited many Taiwanese NGO to exchange the experience about how to use AI to defeat propaganda from Russia and China with the Ukrainian AI company. So as a small country, we have a lot of creative projects. We have many things we can do, and we can create the models, like how we use AI for goods. we use AI for goods, and we can build a strong network and sharing experience with each others. I do believe that like AI, it can learn from its own models, but humans can also learn from each other's experience. So as small countries, we have to stay in connections and share opinions and experience together and think about how to use AI for good things, and then foresee the future to prevent that to take the cost of the AI development. We want to take the benefit also. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. All right, thank you so much, Titikat and Chiayo, for your insights. Thank you for your participations in this session as well. Now I give the floor back to Vaiti.